Hi, welcome back to Comicbook Gallery. I'm your host, Joaquin. You know what day it is? It's Sketchbook Thursday, so let's put some work in, people. Today, I have picked a new subject for an ongoing series that I'm currently working on, the first project I'm in the middle of. So I thought I'd take a time out from painting to show you what I'm going to be working on next. So, this is the Age of Apocalypse, and we have Saber-Tooth Wild Thing. I want to say it's Jubilee right here, and there's Colossus, which I always liked his look, and of course you got Apocalypse, and you have the Sentinels. But for today's picture, I'm just going to be concentrating on this part right here. That's all I'm going to be trying to sketch out. Leave that right there so you can see a loose reference of what I'm doing. All you new artists out there should be sketching and drawing every day. And at least 5 days a week. You know, about 30 minutes of sketch time. Sketch whatever. Sketch what you like. But the point is, just draw. Get the practice in. And for those of you who have been following my Sketchbook Thursdays, thank you. And you know that I've been saying that I'm going to be, start using other projects. But first, I kind of wanted to make it like a little, like, I guess a roadmap of how to start if you're a new artist, right? And you start off with sketching, and look, I don't care about the lines. All I'm trying to do is just trying to get a general sense, because I want to make this into a painting. So in order to make this into a painting, I have to start working out areas and seeing, what this artist in particular, what they started doing. So, when you do this, you're just keeping nice, loose sketch lines. You don't care about perspective. You don't care about anything, because you're going to go back and start figuring that out once you start adding detail. But for right now, you just keep it a nice loose flow. The whole object of this is to try to get it intact of how this artist created their work, right? So we know this is a fist, and that's going to be that's kind of coming at an angle. All right? And you're just going to, loose lines, indications, just trying to figure out where things are going to go. And like my other videos, I'm going to keep these at under 10 minutes, or try to keep it around 10 minutes. And I just want to give you a progress of, where I want my channel to go. I know that for some of you, my channel, you're just here for comics, and maybe you're enjoying the sketchbooks, and if you are, that's cool. Thank you for supporting that. And for other of you, there are some people who are just a little bit interested in the Magic the Gathering content and the drawing, and some of you like all three. I do have a couple of people who are interested in almost all three in a sense, but they're definitely interested in comic books. They're like comic book collectors, and they also enjoy playing Magic the Gathering. So those two usually have a slight bit of crossover. And what I wanted to stress was, I need to find this line. It's what I wanted to stress. Just draw and have fun creating with what you want to create. Usually for new people, you're always starts right in between. I really haven't picked a point, so he's got thinner arms, and okay. So the other reason why I want you to be sketching is because when you're sketching, you're really learning how placement goes and how your picture's going to look, And you may not fit everything that you want to fit in there because you started the picture out too big. Okay? So, if I really wanted to fit this entire thing on this book, okay, on this page, the first thing I would do is I would go like this. This is the first indication of it's almost halfway. I mean, almost dead center. So I would go like this. Next, I would look to see where his chin line goes, and that would be at his eye line. So if I wanted to fit, this would have to be smaller. But in theory, we'll just make this his eye line real quick. This is where it would end, and we know that his jaw would be right there where Colossus's head is. So right up here's his hair. But we'll just sketch this in right now since I'm just showing you of, this is a nice image this person has done, and that's why I'm going to get it down and I'm going to paint it. And I'm going to be showing people that if you get starter art sets and you're in like junior high, high school, these are the type of drawings that you should be doing. Some of you who are younger, maybe 5th or 6th grade, these are big projects to tackle on and will take time. But you could do it if you, just slowly start doing if you slowly start practicing. So if I didn't really want to do this, but let's just finish this part out here. And theory just comes out here, something like that. And I now have to put in Colossus's head. So I didn't want to, but I brought this up to show people as a reference point. Okay, so now we know the eye line comes here, this comes here, and you would start to put more lead in the pen, and you would slowly bring this line across and start taking it up and going across. And he's got a big chin, so this is where the mouth would be. Now, then you go across a little bit and bring that up. Because remember, you got to make space for his nose. And I already have run out of room. Like I couldn't fit in the eye. Okay? So if I wanted to make this as a sketch, I've already messed up my proportions. But that's why you're sketching, because you can see that you've made a mistake. Like, whoa, this is not where I wanted. Sorry about the little bump. And that's why you sketch. So you can start putting in a drawing, start putting in the work, start putting in placements, and figuring out what you need to do. So if you started off right here, and you're like, okay, you start to get the sketch in, and you're like, oh, let me get this eye in. You start spending like 5-10 minutes on getting this eye down, and you're starting to like what you see, and you're like, this drawing's gonna kick butt. My friends are gonna be impressed. Since I'm a guy, I'd be like, man, that girl that I'm looking at in my high school class or junior college or whatever, she's gonna be so impressed with this drawing, or whoever you're trying to impress, or sometimes you're just making it for yourself, and you just want to see where you could take it. Well, if I'm spending all this time going like here, right? Figuring out these little lines, putting in these little details, getting everything right, or what I perceive to be right at the time. And then I start sketching out all over here. By the time I reach back to come over here, because most people start in the center, you're going to realize that you've spent all this time right here for nothing. Because if your goal was to get this, which you should be able to do, because according to this image right here, this head should only be this big. And even if you want to make it a little bit bigger, you want to get your proportions down. So to make something like this full size, I'd split this down like a cross. And an art term is called gridding. So you would take this, break it down like this, and because it's a photocopy, you could actually draw the lines. Next, you would just draw the line straight down, straight across, very lightly, right? And you would slowly start sketching it in. And if you had issues with certain parts within the square, right? Then you just do it again. Draw another line, break it down. Draw another line, break it down into all these little squares. If you just keep making tiny little squares for you to work with. And when I mean drawing lightly, I've got a little bit of a heavier touch. I'm talking like this. Like you're just barely sketching it in, right? See how light that is? I mean, I know you should, I'm looking at the camera, so you should be able to see it. But that's how light I'm talking. Where when you want to go back, you could erase it, right? And you hardly ever seen that there was ever a line there. As opposed to up here, right? Once you start going really dark on a picture, it's hard to keep most of the erasing, the lines from not showing back up. Even though this is a good eraser, right? And you're like, well, I don't really see it that much. You don't, but you do, right? And even though I erase this and I can keep erasing, and I'm going to keep weakening, I guess, a little bit of the integrity of the page on what I'm able to do, because if I keep taking away from the surface, it's not like you're sculpting where that's where you want to be. You want to keep taking away until you have the object that you're trying to sculpt. You don't want to be erasing that much when you're doing a drawing, which is why you sketch, So when you erase, it's just a very light eraser, and people won't see what you did, and people will be amazed. They'll be like, wow, that looks just like the photo. And you'll be like, yeah, I got skill. And most artists will look at that and be like, you gridded that, didn't you? If you make it look almost picture perfect, I like how I couldn't say that. Most artists will recognize that you were able to grid that, depending on if they've seen your drawings or your abilities before. But to anybody else, but in the end, who cares? It does not matter how you achieve your goal. What matters in life is that you achieve your goals. And that's how I want to end it. I hope you enjoyed this little sketch series that I'm doing, because I'm enjoying drawing and getting back into drawing. I'm getting the rust off and starting to paint again. And I'm slowly starting to enjoy my life. And I want to thank you all for coming with me on this journey. And there are links in the descriptions below how you can support me. And you can follow me on Instagram. And I have a Patreon page where I am teaching little kids ages from 1st to 3rd grade. I have a program where I'm showing them the fundamentals of art. And that's going to be an ongoing program until I die. That's my goal. I want to teach as many children as I can how to draw and to enjoy art. And at the same time, I want to talk about my hobbies, which I love, which are comic books, which are great short stories, art. And I really have enjoyed playing the game Magic the Gathering. When I was younger, I used to love playing sports and being in the outdoors, especially football, baseball, and basketball. I play soccer occasionally, but get out there, people. Learn new interests, and meet new people. That'll do it. I hope you guys are having a good night, and take care.